Here we are, the first video of Socially Constructed and the first video of the new year. I'm super excited about this. This has been a long time coming for me personally, and we've already discussed a lot of the goals of this channel in the introduction video up here, so let's just jump right into it. I got an idea. In this video, we are going to be discussing two major groundwork theories. The first one is going to be technological affordances theory, and the second will be rich media context theory. But before we can jump into that, we're going to lay a little rules for how these videos work in the first place. First, in each video, in no particular order, we are going to be tackling a topic that you can actionably use in your communities. If you're an online community manager or a leader in one of your communities, you can take these rules and make your community a better place. Additionally, if you'll look up right here, there is an information bar. This is going to be used to provide extra links and especially references, so you can check our work or learn a little bit more about it. And lastly, the comments section down below, because Socially Constructed isn't just about how to create community, it is a community. If you have 2 cents about the video, if you have any questions about the video, or if you want to engage with other people and ask what they're using those theories for, just toss your comments down below. So with all of that out of the way, let's move on with the video. I'm very excited for this. We're going to start by covering technological affordances and limitations theory, which essentially holds that for any platform online, there was a designer that had to make very important choices about how the platform could or could not succeed. Technological affordances theory breaks things down into 3 main steps. First is the technological environment. If there's not a like button available, or if there are 5 buttons available, it changes the way that people socially interact online. The second step. Social interfaces start to build on that platform. You start to see people on Twitter treating Twitter's wall different than they would Facebook. These social interactions plus the technological interactions build into the third step. The hidden affordances. These are things that kind of crop up. Because Twitter is only 280 characters and used to only be 140, it was perfectly optimized for mobile devices. Facebook wasn't, so it saw more show on mobile devices than you would see Facebook using. Now, technological affordances theory is pretty simple on the ground set, but it can get really complicated, especially when you start to look at how people want to interact on different platforms. What we are suggesting here moves into our second theory, rich media context theory, which discusses a little bit about how communication models work in the first place. Decisions regarding how to package your message are really important on a variety of different platforms, because different platforms and their social interfaces tend to create different norms for how much people are really willing to listen to. And ultimately, you don't have a community if you don't have people talking and listening. Rich media context theory relies on an old communication model, tried and true, a receiver and a sender. And the sender has to send information packaged in a specific way to the receiver. There's some noise that's involved there, and in many cases, the sender has to pick a very specific package to make sure noise is reduced as much as possible. Rich media context theory holds that on each social platform, depending upon the technological affordances and limitations, and the social environment that comes up because of those technological limitations, the package has to be decided based on 2 main benchmarks. On one end, you have how important that message is and how much context needs to be included, but before you can even consider your information to get across, you have to consider how much the sender is willing to listen to. Rich media context theory suggests there is a golden middle ground there, the best possible package that includes as little noise. People have less or more attention span depending upon where they choose to go for their information. A 1,500-word article would not work as a Facebook post. A YouTube video is often necessary to get complex messages across. Twitter, at 280 characters, means you don't necessarily have a person's attention. Or do you? Most people, when looking at Twitter within rich media context theory, might assume that because it's only 140, or in this case, 280 characters, it's very difficult for you to really pack in all of that context. They assume it's a low context platform, and therefore it's difficult to carry a long conversation. But this has been proven wrong. In Zeynep Tufekci's book, Twitter and Tear Gas, there's a very curious case study between the Arab Spring movement of 2012 and the Black Lives Matter movement, and it all revolves around Twitter. Twitter allows a constant stream of very low contextual messages, so it involves a lot of people talking about one specific thing while it's happening on the ground. And this has been really important for a lot of social movements. During the Arab Spring movement, things were hectic. It involved 2 different countries. Media suppression was a huge factor. People couldn't really organize, and it was very difficult to tell what was going on the ground in any specific city. That made it very difficult for people to collaborate and develop. Hashtags allowed people to clue in to the Arab Spring and understand where a riot might be breaking out on the front line, when things were getting dangerous, where the med camps were, and most importantly, who needed what resources where. An online integrated network was built around the movement that allowed people to get integrated into it, help out from halfway around the world if they really wanted to, and respond to it. Several years later, when the Black Lives Matter movement started and we began seeing a lot of riots throughout the entire United States, we started to see those exact same networks form on Twitter. Because the Arab Spring had already gone through this before. They were able to help Black Lives Matter and many other protest movements, including women and LGBT people, build and construct entire communities to support their movements on a platform that only allowed 280 characters. The Twitter case study presents a very interesting dynamic for communities. Packages of messages are heavily impacted by the environment, and the environment is directly influenced by the technological, social, and hidden affordances and limitations set by the people who are leading that platform. For a channel like Socially Constructed, which is essentially a video essay and educational channel, we have very highbrow, high context messages. So YouTube, which has a higher capability to transfer those messages, makes a lot of sense for our packages. But I invite you to consider down below how your community and Socially Constructed might be able to impact with Twitter. We'd love to speak with you more in depth about that. And on that note, this week's question for the comments is how rich media context theory and technological affordances colors the way that you might use Twitter. Next video, we're going to continue laying down groundwork, but we're going to be a little bit cooler about it because we're going to introduce the concept of the magic circle. If you're familiar with gaming and MMOs, this might be a very fun topic for you. And if not, tune in next week to learn a little bit more about how we create those very special environments people just keep coming to every day.